If you're like us, you've finished the latest season of History Channel's Vikings. And now you're just sitting around looking for what show to watch next. Well, bad news. Vikings isn't coming back for a while, and we still don't know when the second half of the final season will premiere. The series is still preparing for its series finale later this year. The show is currently in the middle of its sixth and final season, but there is a Netflix spin-off coming soon, so it's time to look beyond Kattegat for the show you should watch after you finish Vikings. We've plowed through all of TV to find shows that all Vikings fans will love. Not all are about Vikings, some follow other groups of warriors throughout history, some feature more of the medieval swords and shields battles that Vikings has become famous for. If you're here for more history or just here to see someone get their head cut off, you'll find what you need in these shows that are similar to Vikings.
Retreat! Only victory or death!
Is any of this real?
You became such a big fan of Travis Fimmel from the early seasons of Vikings, Ragnar. You watched Warcraft just to see him again. That was obviously a mistake, but don't let Fimmel's latest project, his first TV series role since Vikings, sneak by without a watch. HBO Max sci-fi series stars Fimmel as a space crusader trying to get his son back from a pair of androids who have taken the child to raise him on a deserted planet.
I was programmed to protect you. And now, we start again.
It's full of questions about parenting and religion and is hard, weird sci-fi stripped down to its essentials with an assist from Ridley Scott, who executive produces the series and directed the first 2 episodes. Plus, Fimmel does some impressions of a duck, which shows off his goofy side.
Mother?
That's her.
Here's the most obvious pick. HBO's Game of Thrones. In fact, since Game of Thrones predates Vikings by a few years, it's quite possible you found Vikings because of your love of Game of Thrones. But if for some reason you haven't seen Game of Thrones, then A, where have you been? And B, you'll find the only show in the last decade that has better battle scenes than Vikings does.
Packs of pale spiders.
I saw what I saw. I saw the White Walkers.
You understand why I did it?
John said he was a deserter.
The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
And contrary to what you may have been told, Game of Thrones doesn't emphasize fantasy elements. Yes, there are dragons, but when author George R.R. Martin crafted the story, he based it on history, specifically the War of the Roses in which several different families laid claim to the crown. It's your call whether you want to watch the final 2 seasons, which sadly didn't live up to the rest of the show.
They're coming. Our enemy doesn't tire. Doesn't stop. Doesn't feel.
Of all the shows on this list, The Last Kingdom is going to be most like Vikings. And should be your first stop if you're trying to relive the thrills of Ragnar and Company. Based on Bernard Cornwell's Saxon stories, The Last Kingdom nearly overlaps with the events of Vikings, which begins in 793. Starting with the 866 Viking conquest of York. The show's hero is Uhtred of Bebbanburg, a Saxon who is adopted by invading Vikings and raised as one of their own after the Vikings conquer his homeland, pulling him in 2 different directions as he has the blood of a Saxon but came of age as a Danish Viking. As the 2 shows are loosely based on the same history, some characters appear in both shows at different ages in similar stories separated by a generation of history.
One day, it is my hope that all kingdoms will become one, united under one God.
One king. I've lost my home. I've lost my name. I'm no longer Uhtred of Bebbanburg.
How has it come to this?
When the kings are dead, we will sit on Alfred's throne.
Shadow of Rome is vast. You Thracian will die.
If you go to war, You are destined for great and unfortunate things.
You know what? It's okay to like Vikings for its bloodletting, and if it's spurting crimson you want, it's a tidal wave you'll get in the Starz series Spartacus, one of the most brutal and violent series ever. Spartacus is set in 72 BC in the Roman Empire and follows the gladiators who made murder a sport, which Spartacus is more than happy to show off in artfully cinematic ways. And in keeping with the hedonism of the times, the show is also loaded with sex and nudity, because I know that's also your thing.
And your destiny.
I burn for no cause but my own.
It will be a thing not soon forgotten.
We must embrace pain and suffering to become gladiators.
Your wife?
Is she the reason you refuse to die? She is the only reason my heart beats within my chest.
I've heard tales of your kind, Witcher. You're a mutant. Created by magic.
If Vikings' complex political drama is what intrigues you, you'll get a face full of the same in Netflix's The Witcher. It's far more fantasy-based, however, spectacularly bringing Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski's novels about a monster hunter fulfilling an unknown destiny to the small screen, while also laying out an expansive battle for a continent between a brutish empire and several independent nation-states. Plus, Henry Cavill is the only other charismatic sword-swinging hunk who can hold a candle to Travis Fimmel.
What they say I am.
All of our choices draw our destinies closer.
If he is out there, there is still hope.
I have to find Geralt of Rivia.
Don't judge me.
They say witches can't feel human emotion. What do you believe in?
Evil is evil.